Researchers Dornier and Sizer refer to two kinds of motivation that I'll mention a couple of times: instrumental, which we'll talk about later, and integrative. Integrative motivation is the desire to interact with members of the target language community. All six of my friends mentioned that their motivation to learn English changed when they moved to the United States because they had to know it in order to participate in daily life. It's important to point out that none of these interviews were done with migrant workers or students. These people are all working professionals that have moved here either because of job opportunity, marriage, or to attend graduate school. I think if I had interviewed students and their migrant worker parents, there would have been different results. Because they're in a different socioeconomic situation, they are not afforded the advantages that many of my friends have had in the past. And their children do not have a say in coming to the US or not. They're just thrown into school with other native English speaking students and expected to perform at the same level. That's where the whole power relations of English and Spanish come into play. The social group of students will make a difference in the way that they are treated by society, by the teacher, and in turn by other students. All six said that they thought that immigrants moving to another country should learn the language. Alex even comments that he thinks Hispanics and other immigrant groups are left behind if they don't learn English. John Schumann's acculturation model points us to this whole concept. He posits the degree to which a learner acculturates to the target language group will control the degree to which he or she acquires the target language. Motivation has a huge factor in this model. All of my friends are motivated to continually learn the language and culture of the societies of which they are members, even though it's not their native language and culture. But they all chose to speak in countries for various reasons, and not because they absolutely had to for their well-being or their livelihood. Blanketing all of this is the sociocultural perspective of second language acquisition. Based on the words of Lightbound and Spada, the sociocultural theory holds that people gain control of and reorganize their cognitive processes during mediation as knowledge is internalized during social activity. So, social interaction with people of the target language is of utmost importance when acquiring another language. Not only can you learn new things, but cognitively, it allows your brain to reorganize and mediate different structures, concepts, vocabulary, simply through talking to another member of the target language. Alex, Arturo, Yvette, and Caro are all married to very lovely native English speakers, and David and Claudia are studying in the United States for their graduate degrees. All parties have to know English for their personal success, even though all of their significant others actually speak Spanish. And some have even been exposed to English for most of their lives. However, for an immigrant who is part of the lower socioeconomic status in their native country, who might not have the levels of literacy and education that others have, simply because, at least in Mexico, education is not regulated or mandated as it is here in the US. The opportunity and ease of learning a new language and interacting with members of the target language, acculturating to the target language society, probably will not come as easy. The students in these families are able to attend school in the target language every day, but even then, if attitudes and motivation are closed off to the target language culture and inadvertently to the language, if students feel that school and ESOL classes are not culturally relevant or relatable to them, it is especially frustrating because motivationally and even cognitively, they do not have the ability to internalize the acquisition that they need in order to contend and interact with native speaker counterparts. So, for the sake of keeping it short and sweet, the interviews with my six friends showed strong support of the sociocultural perspective that interaction is a must when acquiring a second language. They have also acculturated, at least to some extent, to be able to, like Caro mentions, discover new expressions and vocabulary. Learning the ins and outs of the culture and pragmatics of a language allow you to be a better, more fluent speaker. And finally, all of my friends possess integrative motivation. Even though most of them did not plan to move here, they did. And their motivation to learn the language changed because it had to. Arturo sums it up pretty well, saying that English is a necessity, not just an advantage anymore.